Hello, this is Expressions, Equations, and Problem Solving, Evaluating Expressions, Example 5. Example 5 is a story problem, and it describes a storage cube that is 14 inches long on a side, and the question is to find the volume of the storage cube. Story problems are always the most difficult thing that we do in mathematics, and in this case the volume, it's a simple word, a single word, yet it's a very complicated idea. Related ideas are the idea of length, the idea of area, and then the idea of volume. A length is just a simple distance from one place to another. Common units of length are inches or meters or miles, and if this is 1 inch and we needed to know the distance from one edge to the other, we would just count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth, and this distance would be 8.5 inches. Similarly with meters for a bigger distance, or miles for an even greater distance. Even though the sizes are different, the idea is the same, that it is a length. Next comes area. Whenever we figure out an area, you end up multiplying two lengths. If this is a square that's 1 inch by 1 inch, it's called 1 square inch. And to figure out how many square inches, we could count up how many square inches fit on this whole paper, and in that way we would have the number of square inches. Square inches or square meters or square feet or square miles are used to figure out how big something is, like how big the paper is, or say square miles to figure out how big a farmer's field is. It's used to figure out the size of flat things, like how much carpet. To try to describe how much carpet in a single length like this is difficult. But with this, you can say how many square things, how many square yards, or how many square meters, and it tells you how much carpet there is. The third one is volume. With volume, you always multiply three lengths together. And sometimes it's described as multiplying an area times a length. And in that way, you get cubic inches or cubic meters. If this cube was 1 inch on a side, to figure the size of something, you would count them. You'd count how many are on the bottom, and then how many are on the second row, and how many are on the third row, and so forth, and in that way you would get cubic meters. This type of measure is used to figure out how much it takes to fill something up, like how much water it takes to fill up a swimming pool might be in cubic meters. Cubic miles would be a very big measure. It might be used to figure out how much water is in a lake. And these formulas I have here are very simplified formulas. Very often you have to, after multiplying the two lengths, you have to do something else. For example, if the figure was a triangle, you'd have to multiply the base and the height, and then you'd have to divide by 2. And circles, you multiply the radius times the radius, and then you have to also multiply times pi. So these are very simple representations of the formulas. They are valid, but based on the type of figure you're working with, sometimes you have to do something else to them. Now, our figure is one of the simplest types of figures to figure out the volume of. It's a cube, And that's why we call this cubic inches, and that's why we said that when you raise something to the third power, that's cubed. So for this one we have to find the volume of the storage cube, and the volume in this case is equal to length times length times length, or L cubed. So it's going to be the volume, let's see, volume is equal to S cubed. This is the formula used in the book. That's pretty good. It's the side times itself 3 times. So the volume is equal to 14 to the third power, and that answer is 2,744.